Hello everyone, welcome to our Maddy Astro Predictions. We are coming back after a long time. So today we will be discussing about what would be the effects of a new Dasha or Dasha Antar Dasha which India will be entering in the near future. Right now we are running the phase of Moon and Mercury, and before this we were running the phase of Moon and Saturn, and we analyzed how India would suffer economically, suffer in terms of loss of health, and that's what happened during Corona time. And then we also had predicted that from July 2020 onwards there would be relief, and that's how it happened. And we also predicted how there would be a small wave of Corona, third wave, and then the business would pick up. As it is, we've seen how things have begun to normalize in the Moon and Mercury phase. Businesses have improved. Of course, it's not as good as it should have been, but still, at least on paper, it is improving. So that's how the political parties claim. And an important phase is that now the Moon and Mercury phase is going to end. And Moon and Mercury phase is going to end, and we'll have a small phase of Moon and Ketu starting from December. So that's what I wanted to explain, what its effect would be. In one of my previous videos on astrology predictions, I had given a hint what would be the situation when Ketu enters. On that I will be elaborating today. Okay, so coming back, so we will be discussing how about our Indian horoscope. So basically, Indian horoscope, I'm going to say once again that we take the independence chart. That is, India got independence on 1947 at about midnight 2 minutes. Okay, so that is the chart we have taken. So this is how we see the chart. So the main drawbacks of this chart are Ketu is in the 7th house. 7th house represents friends, 7th house represents partnerships, 7th house also represents foreign. In mundane terms, in normal terms, it is considered as wife or close friends. Since we are looking at the country level, we will assume it to be an relationship between friendly countries. Okay, so Ketu is placed in the 7th house, so 7th house is going to get activated, and Moon is already placed in 3rd house. So Moon is basically placed along with few planets like Saturn, Sun, Venus, Mercury. So Saturn is a negative planet or a malefic planet. Saturn is at 20 degrees and Moon is at 4 degrees. Quite a bit of distance is there, but still I believe effects of Saturn will be there. That's how Saturn and Moon conjunction causes India to have frequent neighbor issues. So 3rd house represents neighbors or small, or you can call as younger siblings. And we've seen all the 75 years India has been suffering in this front, that is the front of neighbors. From all these 75 years, India had fights with neighbors. First it was Pakistan, of course Bangladesh till 1971, then they got divided, India helped them, and later on China came into picture. And in between, even countries, small countries like Nepal, they also had problems with us. Problems like with people like Sri Lanka in LTTE. So the terrorism from Sri Lanka also led to the death of one of our prime ministers. And of course, in between we had problems with Pakistan, and Punjab was a terrorized, and that's how we had issues in Punjab also up to 1989. Then of course it became independent. So in that way, the one of the main reason is the 3rd house, or the house of younger siblings, or the house of neighbors. For a country it becomes neighbors, so it becomes neighboring countries, was always an issue. So Saturn and Moon. Saturn is a problem causing planet. Wherever Saturn is there, it causes problem. But since Saturn was in 3rd house, it's a kind of expanding thing. initiating thing. That's how India has also taken initiatives, like to stop the Bangladesh, East Pakistan and West Pakistan, the war when it came up. The India intervened, and they liberated the Bangladesh country, and also it intervened in various other places also, like Nepal. When there was an earthquake, they took initiative to rebuild the country, and even in Sri Lanka, after the war, they helped to rehabilitate the Sri Lankans. So all those things have happened by India side also, but still there is constant tensions. So what I mean to say is, moon, which is in the third house, so the moon Mahadasha started somewhere around 2015. So okay, I'll just explain to you once again. So this is the moon Dasha. Okay, moon Dasha started somewhere in 2015. Okay, so the dates shown are the end dates. So the moon Dasha started somewhere in 2015. That's how when Mr. Narendra Modi took no, as India's country's prime minister, and we see from 2015 the moon Dasha will be there till 2025 August. So in other words, we can say that Narendra Modi will stay as the prime minister of the country till 2025. So that is an side prediction, extra prediction I'm giving. But coming to the main subject, from 2015 onwards, we have had some or the other kind of tensions with our neighboring countries like Pakistan, China, even Nepal. No, we had some bad words or whatever, and also with the Sri Lanka lately. So all these issues we had. So the third house was activated. Now, what I mean is, this third house was activated in all this 10 years, and in future also it will be there, but okay, after 2025 when Mars Dasha starts, it will reduce. Now the main worry what I have is not only the house of neighbors, that is this is the house of neighbors. Not only this house, even the house of friendship is getting activated. So that is my main concern, that ketu, which is in the 7th house, which represents our friendly relationships with countries, maybe not only neighboring countries, even the far away countries, maybe like countries like USA or Russia, which are far away from us. So relationships with them, so that is also getting activated. Is it positive or negative? That I'll explain. And again, moon, which means neighbors, that is also going to get activated. So in brief, what we can say is, the whole thing, the third house, 7th house is going to get activated. The third and the third and 7th house. So this is the third house and this is the 7th house. So both these houses are going to get activated, and both represents partnerships, friendships, neighbors, etc. Now the point to be worried is ketu, which is 7th house, is a negative planet, and ketu is also considered as headless planet. Ketu is also considered as terrorist planet. Why I say terrorist is because terrorists, they don't act on their own discretion, they act on their boss's discretion. So ketu is headless, so they don't think. People with ketu dasha running, they don't think, they just act blindly. So that is what happens with terrorists also. Now India's 7th house is getting activated. That means the terrorism in the country will be affected. There will be some terrorist activity going to happen. Maybe there may be attacks also, I am not ruling out, or there may be some kind of territorial or it might be Islamic or whatever. Generally we consider terrorism to be Islamic, but I'm not going to name it. But still I see some kind of terrorist activities or terrorist attacks on the Indian soil. which will in turn lead to what you call an break in relationship with our neighboring countries. It might be Pakistan, China, anybody. Also, we cannot rule the uh, disruption of relations between faraway countries also. It might be US or Russia or whichever country. There may be a break in relationship with our friendly countries, or there may be some kind of harsh exchange of words between two countries. See, one thing is moon is activated, that is the third neighboring, the other is seventh. So this may be an cause due to with neighboring countries, or it may be a cause due to the faraway countries. Somewhere the neighboring countries also will be involved. That's what I suppose to happen. That's what I predict to would happen. This is a transit chart. So this is the transit chart presently going on. Now another cause of concern is we see this sorry so with this we see these countries, sorry, I'm very sorry for this. So what is happening here is we have this Saturn planet in 9th house of Indian chart, which again represents foreign countries or faraway countries, is aspecting 6th house. Okay, there's a 10th aspect which gives 10th, so Saturn has 10th aspect. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So the 10th house we have ketu in our Indian chart in transit. So 10th house is going to get activated. So the 6th house is also getting affected. That is, Saturn in the 9th house of Indian chart is going to already directly aspecting the 6th house, which means the 6th house of Indian chart is in danger. Because the aspect of Saturn on ketu is not considered good. Okay, this is already happening from last 2.5 years, and that's how we see there's always kind of arguments or harsh speech between India and its countries. So that is happening. But 6th house also represents enemies. So on Indian chart in the transit we will have an aspect of Saturn on 6th house, which is house of enemies, which means the house of enemy is going to get activated. It is house of enemies, it is house of debts, it's house of accidents, it's house of surgeries, all those things. So I believe India with its enemy countries, some kind of terrorist attack is going to happen on India on the this period. So this period, and again I'll tell you what is the period. The period of ketu, the moon ketu. So this is the moon ketu period, which is going to get activated from 28th November. So 28th November 2022 to 28th June 2023 is a critical period for India, and I expect some kind of terrorist activity, terrorist attacks, or at least an war of words between India and its neighboring countries, or India and XYZ company in the world. But I probably think it will be mostly neighboring countries. So there will be an word of exchange or even attacks happening in this period. That is December to June. It's almost 7 months. This 7 months period will be critical for India, and India should watch out. India should gear up for their security. The security of Indian borders should be beefed up. So this is what I predict to happen. So this is the period. Otherwise also, if not terrorist acts or no, terrorist attacks, there would be an fight, war of words, or what do you call the security briefing, or the army piling up its strength on the borders. Just like we see whenever there is an warlike situation, the army is they pile up their weapons, everything on the borders. So that might also happen, a warlike situation. So this is my small prediction. Let us see what is going to happen. If anything positive is going to happen, you can please come back and comment, or if anything happens what I have told, I will just update to you. This is to just see how our astrology works, that is the science of astrology works. This is our exercise. Thank you very much. We'll see somewhere around in February or March.